I thought I would do a little video on a car that I actually own myself. Now, this is a Range Rover Vogue, and this is the SE model. It's a 3-litre TDV6, producing about 300 horsepower, 443 pounds-foot of torque. But we all know that already. This is not one of those reviews that's about, you know, what the car is like. Everyone knows. You can search back through YouTube and find a multitude of different people that have done these over the past, gosh, I don't know, these came out in 2013, or end of 2012, 2013. You can go back and search hundreds of different films on this car. This is more of a, should you buy one of these, second-hand, an early one. This is relatively early, so this is a sort of 2014 car. And the answer is, spoiler alert, I absolutely adore this car. This is such a good car. For the money, for what you can pick up these days, and you can pick one of these up for under £30,000, relatively leggy one, for under £30,000, this is potentially one of the coolest, most refined, most incredible cars that you can actually pick up for this sort of money. Now, this one, as I say, is a 14-plate car. I paid under £40,000 for this when it had 56,000 miles on the clock. It's now done just over 80,000, and touch wood, touch some of the mahogany veneer in here, it has never ever put a foot wrong. It has never let me down, and this is what I sort of wanted to talk about. I wanted to get rid of the things that people think immediately, oh, it's a Range Rover, it's going to go wrong. Of course it's going to go wrong, it's a Range Rover. Now, don't get me wrong, that is a lot of the time the case. But this one, if you get a good one that has been looked after, they are exceptional, like sublime. I bought the Range Rover from a company called Motorflix in Wantage. They'd just done a massive service on it, so it had belts, it had all of the stuff done to it that you'd want done before buying it, because that big service is eye-wateringly expensive. So have a little look. If you buy one that hasn't had that service, then you have a little think about that, because it's about £2,500 for that service. The next service is only like 400 quid. So in reality, this car, in the 20,000 miles that I've done in it so far, has cost me £400. For a car, for a Range Rover that was nearly 100 grand when it was new. It just blows my mind. So this car, the 20,000 miles that I've done in it, has been, the majority of it has been on a motorway or on big A roads, and it is so good at doing that. It is comfortable. It is plenty quick enough. You could get the TDV6, you could then get a TDV8, which is a 4.4 litre V8. This 3-litre TDV6, for me, is what I wanted. This is not a car that I've ever hustled, that I never really drive that quickly. You get to a corner, like I am now, and you just get it round the corner nice and slowly, and then it has plenty of usable torque and usable waft to get out the other side. This car is an SE, not an autobiography. So what that means is it has, the only extra this car doesn't have is the panoramic sunroof. It is an extra that I would have wanted, I have to say, because if you have a dark interior and no pan roof, it can be quite dark and quite gloomy in here. This one, with the beige interior, the mahogany veneer, and the brown on the top of the dash here, brown leather, brown steering wheel, on the Aintree green and black wheels, I think, I know I'm biased here, but I think it's the best spec. I call it Prince Philip spec, because I don't know if you agree, but this is a very royal, very wanky sort of spec. It's not your typical black on black Range Rover. I think it makes it look a little bit more special. This, I've tried to film it, but this paint in this colour, it sparkles in the sunshine. It looks incredibly good. Now, the driving dynamics of this car, they are, you know, they, as you would expect, this is a very big car. Even though this L405 Range Rover is half a ton lighter due to its aluminium chassis, half a ton lighter than its outgoing L322. But don't get me wrong, it is still a big, heavy car. Now this on air suspension it smooths out bumps, it rides brilliantly. Don't get me wrong, if you hustle it through corners, it does, you know, it pushes wide at the front, you get wheels screech, like the whole thing. It doesn't want to be hustled, it wants to be driven and wafted and driven nicely, but it massages your brow. I've driven this all the way to Switzerland. I went skiing in it last year. I've done so many long trips in this, and I use the radar guided cruise control, which is absolutely fabulous and works like a complete and utter dream. It has every extra under the sun, as I say, other than the pan roof. It's got the split screen TV nav thing, which was like an £1,800 option, which, if I'm totally honest, I have never used before. You're never ever gonna use the sat nav in this car, because the satellite navigation in these is, well, it's dreadful. It's totally and utterly useless. For everything that you get on this car, you would be looking at buying something at 50, 60, 70, 80,000 pounds plus. And for these, if you went and picked one up that was 35, 40,000 pounds, or if you went and bought a 2018 facelift car, you're looking at probably 50,000 pounds upwards. But even at that stage, 50 grand upwards, this is a spectacular motor vehicle for that money. If you have kids, if you want to go on long journeys, if you want it as a daily, if you know, it even does 33 miles to the gallon most of the time. And I know that in this day and age, maybe that isn't a massive amount, I don't really know, but I'll tell you what, it's plenty for me. Go and check out an L405. If you have any questions about it, I've owned this for 2 years. If you have any questions, just drop it down in the comments, let me know, and I'll try my best to answer for you. And obviously, like, subscribe, and do all of those good things.